Very good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to start with a new topic called RDD persistent. So we have done the basic part of the RDDs, a lot of topics or concepts regarding the RDD. So now we'll move forward and we will start with the RDD persistence. So we will talk about RDD persistence. So as you know, the meaning of persistence is just to have store the data in a permanent area, permanent storage, whether it's a disk or memory, but it should be permanently for some time. But from the RDD perspective, this persistence is like for the time being. Okay, if it is stored in memory, so it will be there for the time being, and then it will definitely going to help to increase the computation. Right. So first of all, we should say that this is an optimization technique. So this is an optimization technique. It will improve the performance of the computation. Okay, so how it will going to improve the performance? As you know that in RDD there are two things: action and transformation. And let's say we have one data sets, any file, we create one RDD, then we apply some map function or transformation. It will move to the next RDD. Then let's say we apply some filtering, then that RDD will become a third RDD. That means there are series of RDDs is created. And what happened once you apply action? So what will happen? The RDD will be created from the very beginning. Okay, so it will create it from the very beginning, and because of that, it will take the whole directed acyclic graph. So now what the persistent do? Any of the RDD you can persist in between, and so that once the recomputation happens, then that RDD will take the data not from the very beginning, it will take from the persist RDD. Okay, so I'm just going to show that also. That means this RDD is going to help to avoid the recompute the whole lineage, to recompute the whole lineage. How it is possible? Because in the lineage, let's say I have 3 transformation and 4th action, then if I create any of the persist RDD, then I will not go from the very beginning. Okay, so now while we do persistent, so what happens? The RDD we save data by default in memory. Okay, so that means whatever the data we persist, it will store in the memory, and then the data will be fetched from that particular RDD, not from the very beginning. And if you see, this is going to improve the performance approximately around, you can say, 10 times. Around 10 times it will improve the performance. It varies because it depends upon the how much data you are using. Okay, so that means if the data is persist anywhere, that means it is going to reduce the computation, because we don't need to recompute the things. So there are two things where we need to recompute. Let's say you create an RDD, steps of RDD, and then something bad happens. That means it need to recompute, or you call action again, then it also need to recompute. So that means this persistent will also help you in fault tolerance. So now for this persistent, we have two methods we should understand, and we are going to do that in detail. The first one is cache, other one is persist. So there are two methods or two functions, you can say, involved in this persistence. Now the cache function is something like caching. So we can say that caching is the key tool. The caching is the key tool for this caching is the key tool for the iterative algorithm, or you can say fast interactive use. So this caching will definitely going to help. Now when we do the persistent, we are going to see that this cache function, you can say in caching, when we apply the cache function, that means by default, the caching and persistent will do the same thing. Okay, that means if you use a caching, that means my default storage level is your memory. That means we are going to see this, what are the different storage levels, memory only. Okay, and I am going to discuss in detail what is the memory only and other one. So now it says that if we are using caching, that means our storage level is a memory only. That means we are going to store in the memory. On the other hand, we have persist function. Okay, so let's say we have a persist function, and this persist function, like you can use this function, or you can use this at the level, means that means various level, or that means reusable the computation. That means it is also use a cache. That means this is fault tolerant, or you can say this, that means if you have any RDD and it is lost, let's say any RDD get lost, then what you need to do, it will recompute it using the transformation you are going to apply that. Now I will show you what I was telling about what is the transformation and what the things are there. So now this diagram and this concept will make more clearer with this statement. So let's say you have the data. I'm taking an example. Okay, my example is, let's say I have I'm creating a one RDD, and this is my text file, and you have already done this many times. So let's say I'm putting a text.txt, and let's say I'm creating another RDD called data1, which is equal to, now I'm taking the RDD above RDD and applying some map function. I'm using lambda x colon, and I'm using x dot, let's say upper. So I'm using, I'm making everything uppercase. Here I'm creating uppercase. Now this data1 I'm persisting. So let's say data1 dot persist. I'm persisting. Now doing another transformation. Let's say data1 dot, let's say filter. So I'm filtering based on lambda, and let's say lambda I'm using, and then I'm saying s dot start with, so anything starts with, let's say 1 or capital I, then it is going to put this I. So that means this is your uppercase, and this is your I word start with, and this is your persistence. Okay, so now you have applied something, but this will not execute it until unless we call a data2 dot, let's say count. I'm counting this one. This is your action, and rest of the things are your transformation. So that means your RDD is passing through so many stages. So just I want to make this different stages. So let's say this is my test.txt file is there. Okay, this is my text.txt, and after that I apply some function, and this become my data. Let's say data applying on this function. Then after that, this is an RDD. Now after that, this become RDD1, data1. Then after that, you call data2. Okay, and then after that, you apply an action over here. Okay. Now what happens? You have done the persistent at the data1. So now what I am doing over here is I am saying that this is my persist. So this is my persist RDD. This RDD is persist RDD. That means this is cache. I'm not talking about the function. I'm talking about the caching. So my RDD, this data1 is persist. So now in case, let's say while using this data2, it gets failed, something happened bad or lost, you lost this RDD, what will happen? It will recompute it from this position, not from this, it will recompute it from here. Why? This is persist RDD. So that is why it will avoid the computation. It is very fast if we store the things over here. I hope you got it. So now you got the idea what the persistent is. Now in reality what happened, like if we write, if the in memory persist is a suggestion only. Okay, so this is a suggestion we put, and a suggestion to Spark, that you please try to save this persist data into memory. But let's say if not enough memory, what will happen? This partition will be clear, okay, from memory, and then this will be based on algorithm called least recently used, LRU algorithm, it will be used. Okay, so this is about the RDD persistence. So now if we see some more concept about the RDD, about the persistent. So let's first, before that, let's talk about the features. Features, what are the features of RDD persistent? The features like, there will be a storage, and you can say there will be a reuse of your RDD partitions. Okay, now in RDD persistent, there will be automatic recomputation of lost RDD partition. Now you can also say that when we use a persistent, it means that this will be a storage of persistent RDD on different storage level. So we are going to see the storage level in a moment. A different storage level. Definitely, it is cost efficient, time efficient, cost efficient in terms of computation, because we don't need to recompute, and we are going to see the trade-off. Do we have to do the persistence at what level? Okay, and definitely when you have the persist data and you are recomputing, it will lessen the time of execution. Okay, now let's see what are the different storage level. So we have a different storage level. So when I say storage level, this storage level is applicable to the persisted RDDs. So what happened? The persisted RDD can be stored using different levels, different storage levels, right? And these levels are, you can say, set by storage level object. So there is a storage level object, and this storage level are set by this storage level object. As I told you in the beginning that if you use a cache function, the default storage level is your storage level class dot. It is a capital one. Okay, so it will be memory underscore only. This is your storage level. So what does it mean? It means that you are storing the destination. This is storing the destination, or rather, I should say you are in the storage level. You are storing the deserialized. I should say store the deserialized object in memory. Okay. Now this storage level can be of different types. That means this persistence offer you this. It offers the storage three different, like let's say storage level, or you can say format in memory, what kind of format we are using, or you can say partition replication. Okay, there are three things. Now when I say storage level, I'll use a different marker for this one. When I say storage level, the storage level are like capital letter I need to write. The storage level is like memory only, or you can say storage level is of like memory and disk. That means you are using both. Third one is disk only. Now if I use a disk only, then what I will do, I will call a storage level of class object class, and I will call disk only. This is the way I have to write. Okay, so storage level of three types, like memory only. That means the data will be persist or store in the memory, or it will be memory and the disk, or it will be the disk only. Okay, now when I say formats, I mean to say that formats is like your memory only SER. This SER is a serialization. Okay, or it is having a memory and disk, and then we are saying serialization. So either you can use memory and serialization. Okay, so memory and serialization means you are using a serialization object. So your format is your serialization object. Now this serialization it means actually it store as a serializable object, and serializable objects are like a byte streams of array, and they are very fast. So store as a serializable object, or when I use a serialization object, it is a space efficient. And you need to remember these points. And these serialization objects like format in memory are more CPU intensive. So these things are about the format in memory. So you are using a serialization over here, but you can use memory only, memory and disk both. Okay, so when I say memory only, let's say when I say memory only, here what happens, you store the RDD as deserialized object in your Java virtual machine. Okay, and if let's say if it doesn't cache, then what it will do, if it will recompute it on the fly, and which is your default level. The memory only is your default level. So what is happening in the memory level? That means you are storing the RDD as a deserialized object in your Java virtual machine, and then if you doesn't cache that means if you doesn't cache, then you're not persisting it. It will recompute it on the fly. That means you need to recompute, and this is your default level. Okay. The third one is your partition replication. That means it can be disk only, like simple one, or you can say it can be memory and disk, and then last option is your two. That means this is a replication. Similarly, you can apply this replication with the above two, like a memory only two, but two is a replication factor, or you can also use with the format in memory, like let's say memory. You can mix all the things, memory only, and I want a serialization, and I also want a replication factor, right? Or similarly, you can also write like memory and disk, then serialization, and then replication factor. So this is a different way you can give the different storage level, and you can mix all those three. And apart from that, apart from this, we have a different, like let's say storage level, like another storage level. We have separate storage level. I'm writing an off heap. So you have know what is Java, what is a heap. Java objects are stored in heap. So this off heap is actually this for experimental purposes. Okay, and you can say for experimental purpose, this is something similar to your memory only serializable format for the storage level. Sorry. Now in this, what happened? The data you can say store data. It store data in off heap memory. Off heap memory. So heap is, you know what is it's a part of the algorithm. Data structure is one of the data structure, and this off heap requires off heap memory to be enabled. So you need to enable, by default it is false. So that means you need to enable this one. So now if I say default one, so default in Scala it is memory only, okay, and in Python this is memory only serialization, okay. So these are the default values, and you can say Python serialize with the algorithm called pickle. Okay, so it uses a pickle deserialization techniques in the Python one. Now, very interesting and important is that Spark automatically persists the intermediate data in the shuffle operation. When we do shuffle operation, let me write this also. This is because this is very important. Please take care of this during the shuffle operation. What happens? Spark automatically persists the intermediate data, okay, and because it uses a reduce by key, that means during the reduce by key it uses shuffle operation in the reduce by key, and then it will call the persist. This here it calls the persist without calling the persist or cache function. Why? Because internally shuffle data need to be do lots of computation, and then if it persists, it speeds the functionality. So that means it is also one of the Spark optimization technique to use the persist or cache RDD persistent during the shuffle operation, and it will use to avoid the recomputation during the failure. Okay, so this is about the persistent.